The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
The president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, visited Moldova on Monday to hold top-level meetings with her Moldovan counterpart Maia Sandu and Moldovan Parliament Speaker Igor Grosu. During the conference, Zurabishvili talked about the existing visa regime with the Russian Federation. In her words, she did not exclude that Georgia should revise the conditions of visa regime with Russia, adding that government should make a decision together with the society. The entry of Russian citizens into Georgia is really a challenge. I would not say it's a threat, but it's a challenge. Among the arrivals are former citizens of Georgia who come to Georgia because of the situation in Russia, but there are also Russian citizens who come to Georgia for various reasons. The main thing here is assuring the public that all control mechanisms are used so that the danger does not arise. In this regard, more communication with the society is needed for informing them that all possible threats and issues are actually considered by the authorities and all measures are taken. Moreover, it's not excluded that we will have to review the visa regime, which is quite liberal under current conditions and which may be less acceptable in the conditions of this aggression, said Salome Zurabishvili. In September 2022, the volume of money transfers from abroad constituted $387.2 million USD, which was 84.6% more than the amount in September 2021. 97.5% of total money transfers from abroad came from 23 largest partner countries, with the volume of transfers from these countries each exceeding $1 million USD in September 2022. Top 5 countries by the volume of remittances flows in September 2022 was as follows: Russian Federation, Italy, USA, Greece, Kyrgyzstan. The National Bank of Georgia has published its tourist report for September, according to which the country received $376 million USD in revenue from foreign visitors last month. This amount is 132% more compared to the previous year. In total, in the first 9 months of the year, Georgia received $2.5 billion USD from tourists, which is 190% more than in the previous year. Bank also calculates income from tourism in the context of specific countries. In September, Georgia received the largest amount, $96 million USD from Russian travelers, according to the MBG. EU travelers spent $45 million USD, Turkish citizens $36 million USD, Ukraine $32 million USD, and Israeli citizens $32 million USD as well. According to National Bank, in September, the Belarusians spent $21 million USD in Georgia. The 2023 budget, after the shocks caused by the pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, should ensure fiscal and monetary stability in the country, lower inflation, inclusive economic growth, and become the basis for sustainable growth. Irakli Kovzanadze, chairman of Budget and Finance Committee of the Parliament of Georgia, said at a meeting which discussed the draft state budget for 2023. In Kovzanadze's words, next year the government plans to spend 21.2 billion JLR. The salaries of employees in the public sector will increase by 10%, and the salaries of policemen and soldiers are expected to increase by 20%. The pension of pensioners aged 70 and over will increase by 65 JLR to 365 JLR. The pension of the same category of pensioners in the Highland settlements will be equal to almost 440 JLR. The pension of persons under 70 years of age will increase by 35 JLR to 295 JLR, and in the Highland settlements it will be equal to 355 JLR. In this regard, there is an increase in the state budget of 494 million JLR in 2023, which is the largest increase in pensions. As a result, the expenses to be paid in this direction are 3.4 billion GLR, or 60% of the state budget, said the chairman of the committee. The draft state budget for 2023 was discussed and supported at a meeting of Finance and Budget Committee. The Georgian government on Monday discussed the project of building new wind power plants in Western Terjola and Kibuli municipalities, the government administration announced. The estimated installed capacity of the power plant will be 103.5 megawatt, while the estimated annual output rated at 362 million kilowatt-hour, and the project cost at $130 million, the announcement said. The members of the government also discussed draft ordinances of Georgian government on granting the status of an international company to entities, based on which 8 companies will be granted the status of international company. In 9 months of the current year, 2.1 million cubic meters of gas was imported into Georgia. In the corresponding period of the last year, this figure stood at 1.7 billion cubic meters. Accordingly, the annual growth is 24.5%. As for the tax paid for imported gas, the country paid almost $280 million in January-September. In the corresponding period of 2021, this figure was $192 million. The annual increase amounts to $87 million. Investors' Council, led by Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Garibashvili, met on Wednesday in the government administration. Prime Minister Garibashvili hopes to complete this year with a double-digit economic growth indicators, which is very important for us. That was exactly what enabled us to increase the state budget for the following year. The country also had an increase in foreign direct investments and twice as much as how much was injected into the country in the first 6 months of 2022, in contrast with the previous year, thus amounting $922 million, which is a significant reason of optimism as well, the PM stated. Apart from the agenda items discussed at the meeting of the Investors' Council, the Prime Minister shared information with members on political and economic situation observed in the country. Also, PM presented a government vision on the new projects initiated and priorities planned for the following year, the government's press office said. Irakli Garibashvili, Prime Minister of Georgia, met Pravier Sina, Chief Executive Officer of Tata Power, on Thursday. Dignitaries reviewed the large investments carried out and intended in the energy sector of Georgia, along with prospects of future cooperation. The company has invested over $550 million in the construction of cascades at the Shua heavy hydropower plants with a capacity of 187 megawatt. Shua heavy hydropower plant will increase the generation of power energy by almost 5% in the country. It will increase the energy security of Georgia and facilitate the quest towards energy independence. The project is funded by the following three largest financial institutions: European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Asia Development Bank, and International Financial Corporation of the World Bank Group.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.